This is crazy. Welcome to a Different Perspective podcast. Buckle in. I'm so excited. Hey, oh my gosh. This is my fourth time trying to film this. The first time the recorder died, the camera, and then the camera was out of focus, and it was just a whole bunch. I even literally changed my outfit because I was over it. But, I'm being patient and just learning as I go. But yeah, welcome to a Different Perspective podcast. I am Elise, and I am so excited to do this podcast and to finally obey what the Lord has been calling me to do, which is make the podcast. And I have been postponing it and pushing it back. The Lord called me to do this literally when I got saved. At the time, though, I couldn't really tell what God sounded like or what, it was just really hard to tell it was from the Lord. But now that I'm able to hear him and, just feel him, I'm finally obeying and doing this. And of course, the enemy knows it's going to be good. So, everything's just not working. It has took a long time to get it all set up, like the couch and finding a place and all the equipment and just a lot. But we got it figured out. And I'm so excited to start this and see what the Lord does with this. But yeah, it feels so weird to be sitting here right now. So if you see that I start to stutter and stuff like that, just bear with me. This is all so new to me. Hence why I feel like that's another reason I've been kind of holding back and postponing, pushing it back. It's because this is all so new to me. I'm always behind the camera. As I am a social media manager and a content creator I have been pretty much my whole life, but now I do it for a business, so I'm always behind the camera. So being in front is kind of especially talking into a mic. I do not like microphones, but yeah. Today you see all these cables and cords in front of me just because usually I'm going to have someone on the other side of the camera helping me out, but today I really wanted it to be special and intimate, just me, the camera, and the Lord. As it is my first podcast. We've prayed over the room, we've anointed it, we've done all the things. Lots of people have been praying, and thank you for that, for praying for this and praying for me. The spiritual warfare has been intense, but we've been fighting through, sticking through, remaining faithful. Yeah, everyone keeps asking me what is my purpose? What is the reason behind this podcast? Why am I doing it? What am I gonna do with it? The whole goal, honestly, is to have a new person come on every week and share their testimony from where they were to where they are now, and how the Lord moved through all of it. And I think it's really important to hear those stories because it was something that helped my walk with Christ so much. Just hearing and seeing people's lives change drastically in times where I felt like it was impossible for my life to change even one bit. Hearing those stories gave me that hope and brought back that feeling again that everything was going to be okay. And just watching how the Lord moves in people's lives is such a beautiful thing. And like I said, when I got saved and I got called to do this, it was literally the first thing that came to mind was make a podcast with people about their testimony. And I've never had any other idea. I've never thought about any other idea. It's been 3 years in the making. And finally executing this year. But this is definitely, the Lord definitely wants this to happen, so we're going to make it happen. I'm super excited to see all the faces that end up coming here and come to tell their story. It obviously can get emotional. There's going to be lots of laughs and fun moments. But I really hope that the one thing that everyone can take out of this is that God is good and He is faithful. And even if you're in a season of just being called to stay still and in like a waiting season, He is still good and He is still there. And it's something that I struggled with, was just being impatient. But like I said, listening to these stories and testimonies of how being patient has brought people to amazing, beautiful places, it really gets me excited to see what the future holds. So, again, going back to the question of what, or everyone just questioning me about, what's your first podcast gonna be? I thought it'd just be right if I just gave you guys a little bit of my testimony. And I say a little bit because every episode is going to be a little bit of my testimony as I speak to other people and can relate to them, regarding topics of depression, anxiety, suicide, stress, boy problems, sex, alcohol, anxiety, or I already said anxiety, partying, drinking, smoking, addictions. Like, there's going to be a lot of those stories, and I can relate to a little piece of all of it. So, just a quick sum up. I am Elise. I am 21 years old, born and raised in Orlando, Florida. I come from Cuban immigrants. My family, my mom and my dad came on a raft. I had a pretty rough upbringing, especially coming from two parents that spoke zero English in the United States. I have an older brother and an older sister, so I am the baby. We grew up Jehovah's Witness, so it was really rough. I did not have a childhood. I didn't celebrate any holidays. I celebrated my first birthday when I was 12 years old, and my first Christmas when I was like 13 or 14. So I had kind of no fun growing up as a child. My parents got divorced when I was like 5 or 6, I believe. So that was a lot of fighting, a lot of drama, a lot of arguing, a lot of things that a 5-6-year-old should not be looking at or seeing or experiencing. But it happened, and it definitely changed me and shaped me into the woman I am today. It was rough. Like I said, there's lots and lots that goes into that. But growing up, like middle school, high school, I tried to fill the void of like my childhood trauma with boys. I was boy crazy. That was more middle school, beginning of high school, before I could, get access to the other things. But I was boy crazy. I tried to fill the void with boys and falling in love, and it was not it. I was dating 2 people at a time. I was cheating on people. It was like, and I say that because nowadays you see that a lot. You see a lot of women trying to fill voids within them that only the Lord can fill. These voids, emptiness, and just anxious, and you try to fill all that by trying to receive this attention and validation and fake love from people that have the same voids as you, that only the Lord can fill. And I am a living witness, and I'm standing here today telling you this because I experienced it and I'm currently experiencing it right now. Obviously, as I grew up and life went on, I started to drink, started to smoke, went through high school. The one thing that I can say kept me somewhat sane was dance. I was a dancer in high school, so being in that made me feel somewhat okay. And I definitely believe that the Lord was in control of that, because he opened that door for me. Mind you, my audition for the dance team was absolutely terrible, but I feel like that door was open because I was about to end it all. Honestly, it was self-harming. I wanted to kill myself. So being in that made me feel included, made me feel wanted, and I built a family. Well, I gained a family of amazing young girls that eventually led me to a youth group of my sophomore year, a Christian youth group. I went just to try it out. I feel like I always had that fear of like, after like we left the Jehovah Witness stuff, I always had like a fear, like, is this gonna be exactly what it was last time, where I couldn't celebrate not even a birthday and just feel stuck and this and that. But I had a friend invite me, and I would go every single week, and I could definitely say that changed my life, because you hear something once, a message once, a song once, and it sticks with you forever. Like the Lord leaves that imprint in your heart. And like, that's what happened to me. And it was with the song. It was actually Waymaker. It was the first worship song I ever learned. And it stuck with me. Like, I learned it word for word. I would love when they sing. I loved when they would sing it on youth group nights. And it stuck with me. And just singing it made me feel safe. And yeah, so I would go to youth group. I ended up stopping after a while, but it was like a little, that little seed. Hence why ministry has such a special place in my heart, because someone reached out to me when I needed it, even though I didn't know I needed it. And I want to be able to do that, especially high schoolers who are going through a lot and are in this weird phase transition, and I feel like they need to hear that, like I needed to hear it. But we'll talk about that as this podcast goes on. But after that, my life took a crazy turn. I graduated high school in 2021, and I started working at a club like right after high school, and it was crazy. Mind you, I was 18. I saw things, I experienced things, I was a part of things that I should have not been a part of at that age. But I went through it, I learned, I met people. A lot happened in those, like, I don't want to cry, in those time periods of my life. I ended up meeting a guy, and it was all rainbows and butterflies. It was my first real relationship out of high school, so that's gonna, like, the man you're gonna marry. I actually got pregnant with his kid, and I ended up miscarrying. During that time, I was actually in the hospital for 2 weeks with sepsis due to my kidneys like almost failing. It was really bad. I had a really bad infection that went into my blood, and I ended up having a midline put into my arm. It was really bad. The best part of it all is that during that time was actually when my sister got saved and baptized, and her community they were all praying for me and interceding, and I didn't even know. And I came out of that stronger. I ended up going to church a few weeks after that, and I got saved. And ever since then, like, my life was changed in high school. It was drastically changed then, that day that I got saved. But as I love to tell, all the people that are like recently saved and are like new to this walk, that the enemy is on you when you make that decision, because it is the best decision you could ever make. The spiritual attacks were intense, and everyone would tell me that the enemy's gonna come after you, he's gonna come after you, you need to stay strong, you need to stay in community. I'm like, yeah. I got knocked down like a bowling pin. Like, it was bad. I ended up meeting this guy, and it was really toxic and abusive, and it led me so far from the church and from the Lord. But through that whole very abusive relationship, I knew the Lord was with me through it all. He never failed to let me know that I was gonna come out of that, and that there was gonna be a chance for me to leave without it causing a ruckus or a riot or a fight or anything. And he opened the door for me, like brightest day. He was like, here you go. And I left, and ever since then, since that day, I've been so on fire for the Lord, and I hope it never changes, despite life being hard and life being life, and just things being tough. He has always been faithful, and he will always be faithful, and I can't thank him enough. There is no words in the world that can explain my gratitude and my gratefulness. Again, if I were to sit here right now and tell you guys my whole testimony, we'd probably be here for like 3 hours. But there's just times in my life that I can look back on and be like, that was God. He was there. That was the Lord. Like, that was him, like, moving. And as much as, I would have wanted a childhood, and I would have wanted to live life differently, I know that my story can help so many other girls going through the same thing I went through. And like I said, especially young girls, that in this world that we live in today, it's also normal to experience like parents getting divorced, and boys and drugs and alcohol and partying. It's like the new norm. And I want to be able to share that and to tell those girls that that's not life. That's not happiness. That's not joy. That's not it. The Lord is what brings you that joy and that love and that peace. And I want to invite you guys to be a part of that journey with me, because, like I said, and I will continue to say it a million times, it was the best decision I have ever made. Today, my sister, my brother-in-law, my cousin, my mom, my nieces all come to church every Sunday faithfully. We're a big happy family again. It's just beautiful. It's beautiful to see. It's beautiful to see the spiritual family that I now have. I used to be so like intimidated walking into church, like, oh my God, I don't know anyone, and now I know everybody. It's those people that like want to love on you always and pray for you. It's such a beautiful thing. Like, just being a part of the body of Christ is like, we're all family. And like, I feel like I'm rambling now, but you know what I'm saying. But yeah, that's that. And I did just want to touch on that topic of anxiety. I experienced anxiety at a very, 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 very young age. I think I was 6 when I first experienced anxiety. And but yeah, that's it. Like I said, I wanted to make it short and sweet. It is also 12:14 a.m. Like I said, I've tried to film this like 4 times. I just wanted to get this out there. Finally just put something out there to make it known that this is a thing. This is going to happen. And I'm going to be very persistent and consistent. Every week, new person. Stay tuned. I don't know what day of the week, but it's going to happen. And yeah, I'm so excited for what the Lord does with this. And this is going to be good. And I can't wait to bring you guys along. And thank you guys for watching and supporting. And, you know, just being a part of this beautiful journey and bearing with me as I learn all this stuff and as we grow spiritually together. Yeah, that's all. See you next time. Bye.